Welcome, 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 everyone. This is your host, Miss Jenkins. Welcome to Black University. I'm sitting here with the finest man in all of California, Tron MC. How you doing today? Good. For real, for real? All right. Um, I had a subject that I wanted to touch on. I took interest in it, and I wanted, I had some objective uh, views, and so I wanted to get your input. I love to hear you, you know, give your opinion. So, so let's get to it, right? Okay, so I was watching a segment on a show about the women of the KKK. The women of yes, and not like a reality TV show. I was watching like a talk show, and Ricky Lake actually. And okay, so it got me to thinking like, wow, is this real or is this propaganda? But let's just get into it. Okay, so the women of the KKK believe they are recruiting, people like them. They believe that they're a proud race. They claim they are proud of their race, and that whites deal better with whites. They want to uplift and be in power. They want to be in political power. Oh.
Right.
Yeah, they want to be in political power. So first of all, let me get your opinion on. Okay, let me just say this, just to be clear. They made it very clear that they are not with the whole hating of other races. They just prefer their race. They feel they are superior, and they admitted that. So, yeah, like, what is your opinion on? Do you think that these people are really just non-confrontational? We are just a proud race like black people. How black people and there's black power, and how we have the NAACP.
First,
they have the KKK.
Origins of the KKK, it's not good at all. Everybody knows that.
Right.
One of the main things, though, like, first thing that jumped out of me because I didn't expect that to be the question. The first thing that jumped out to me that I don't think black people look at, the first thing that they look at is the negative connotations of the KKK.
Right.
The first thing you have to look at, because you're dealing with women, is the fact that these women are following their men. So they have a strong unit.
Yeah.
And black people, women, have a problem following their men. Men have a problem leading, all of that. So the first thing you have to look at is that.
Yeah.
They're listening to their men, and they're following their men.
Mm-hmm.
Their men, for whatever reason, it could be right or wrong, their men have their women believing that they are superior.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, second, if they are non-confrontational, I mean, they are playing their role as a woman because it's not their job to be on the battlefield.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, also, it seems like they have their structure of the plan of attack in this war. Their shit's pretty right on.
Mm. All right. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I mean, the men are out there on the front lines. The men are gathering up ammo. The men are fucking training. The men up there gathering land. They're fucking planting food. They have natural resources. They know how to be out there in these rural areas, setting up water supplies, etc., etc. The women know how to live off the land, and it's, you know what I mean?
Right. I think. Well, that it was a bunch of, some people. It was put very eloquently, that we don't believe in, confrontation with other races. We're a Christian organization. We don't believe in disrespecting others and all of that. We just believe that we are very proud of our race, and and we just want to take pride in that, and that's all the KKK is about. Do you believe that?
I think there are
Yeah.
56K modem and shit. There's a lot of racist shit.
Yeah.
I entertain all types of conversations, but I've had conversations with racists. Actually, it wasn't KKKs. They were like, I don't remember. It was years ago. I don't know if they were neo-Nazis, Nazis, KKKs, whatever it was. But he believed the same thing, that we should just stick with our own. There shouldn't be race mixing. And at that time, when he said it, I didn't really see a problem with it.
Yeah.
Like, hey, he has a right to his opinion.
Right.
You know what I mean? But I didn't see a problem with it. And then he started to go into it furthermore of the reason why he felt that way.
Yeah.
What?
Like
why he started to feel that way. And, it had to do with the races, all races, staying strong and not being mixed and being watered down into society that you see it today, where we're all going to be one race, basically, and one government. And that, with that, we lose heritage. And his only concern was his race, which was white, which it should be his concern, just like it should be my concern with black. Because once you mix, you know what I mean, then all the history begins with the new age of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You have your blacks that don't know we don't know where the hell we come from. And then you have the whites here who they know their nationality, but you know what I mean? American is basically their nationality. It starts here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So they're disagreeing because they disagree with the Zionist Jews because they control the world, and they see it as that this is what they're doing, is they're mixing the races to have a one race, one world, one government society. Because once you have the mixing of all these children, then they no longer identify with where they come from.
Right.
They identify with the masses, which is a bunch of mixed kids.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
yeah.
So
you really are, in the general sense, American.
Right. So now it's like, now you don't fit the old way school of thinking. That's why it's like called the New Age agenda.
Right.
You know
okay.
What I mean? So this is, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then you have the other, fake motherfuckers or whatever that, are still on the, fuck niggas, niggas and all that shit.
Yeah.
And all that shit, you know what I mean? But pretty much, I mean, as a black man, those are the ones I don't worry about. Like, I don't worry about those motherfuckers, you know what I mean?
Okay.
You know what I mean? Just as pretty much as I'm sure they don't worry about the niggas in the street that don't know either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The KKK or whatever nigga that has this shit together, that knows what he's talking about and the reason why.
There's an agenda.
Yeah, he doesn't really worry about the nigga doing this thing or whatever and this and that. You know what I mean? He sees it as, they're either going to kill themselves off or whatever. They're not going anywhere in life. You know what I mean? And then the same way, that's how I look at redneck kick motherfuckers. They're going to be in their same position forever, still spouting the same old stupid rhetoric shit. They're never going to really amount to nothing. They're going to be in the same position. I don't worry about it either. You know what I mean? It's no point for me to have intelligence and to worry about stupidity.
Okay, but for the simple fact that even these wives are saying the same thing. There's definitely an agenda there. Like, and the agenda is for white people to gain political power.
Right. They want control.
Right, and it's not like that's not already in place, you know?
But they want a different type of control. Because the whites really aren't in power, it's the Jews that's in power. And that's what they're talking about. Because now the Jews are in power. Not the white people. The white people are front men. The Jewish motherfuckers got all the money.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And especially nowadays, you see it more and more. Now you see so many poor white people. A lot of poor black people. You know what I mean? It's a class thing, money. You know what I'm saying? It's because they're not in control. You know what I mean? That's the illusion. That's the divide and conquer. Because we see it as the white people are in control of this and that. In actuality, they're just puppets under the Jewish people.
Wow.
So white people that know what the real problem is, they're like, fuck that. They don't. You know what I mean? They don't side with, motherfuckers that are making these laws and, you know what I mean, these new age shit. They don't side with that shit because their power is slipping. So they're trying to have some type of stronghold on what little that they do have. Not realizing that we all should have, some way or another, found a common ground to get together to change things.
Yeah.
That was the problem. You know what I mean? They wanted to hold on to that little control that they had because that was the divide and conquer scheme. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sorry, I just keep going.
No, gosh, it's great. Definitely threw me for a loop. I didn't expect the whole Jewish, storyline to come into play, and I think that's vital information. I think that's what people need to know. But let me ask you about this. So earlier I was telling you, about them trying to gain political power, and that's and these wives compared, each and every one of them compared their organization to the NAACP, saying we are just like African. We want the same thing as we're just like African Americans. We're just like Mexican Americans. All these races that have organizations, we're no different, but we're still stigmatized as racist. We can't even buy a T-shirt that says white power on it without somebody getting mad, but a black girl can buy a shirt. One of them was talking about being in the mall and seeing a shirt that says something about being black and beautiful, and it fucked with her.
That's unfortunate because maybe they weren't directly responsible for it,
right?
But they've enjoyed years of not T-shirts. Of the world saying white power without the words WHITEPOWER. Every time you go into a job, it says white power. Every time you go to buy a car, it says white power.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But that's furthermore what I'm saying. That's the agenda. That's how we see it.
Wow.
You know
what do you mean?
That's how blacks see it, as white power. You know what I mean? But it's,
like, you ain't gotta wear a T-shirt to say white power when I can go to a job interview and know that you're gonna get a job before me.
When I live in your world, why do you need a shirt that says white power?
Right.
If I'm not able to own anything, or
you don't have to tell me
my percentages are very low to be in the same position, why do you need something like that? But I do understand what she's saying, because I'm one of who made that believe in freedom of speech.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I do believe that she has the right to say everything. Now, going what you were saying about her feeling like they are, the NAACP, I would have to have a conversation with the lady to see where her complete.
Well, someone argued, actually, it was the host of the show, that argued that, the NAACP and the KKK, two totally different organizations, not even the same cause.
Right.
Your cause, the KKK's cause, is instrumented towards the uprising, the supremacy of white people, and the NAACP is just for equal rights. It's just a Black Lives Matter situation all around.
Even with that, if it's on TV, it's propaganda anyway from the jump. Because if it's the NAACP and you're comparing the KKK, the NAACP isn't even ours. We didn't start the NAACP.
But in the 90s, they didn't know that. Right?
That's what I'm saying. What I'm saying is someone did. Someone knew it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's you know what I mean? That's kind of the twist and the mind fuck about it. You know what I'm saying?
Because you use that against, they get to use that against us.
Right, but that's the NAACP does not, you know what I mean? If they were to say, the only thing they could really compare it to would be the Black Panthers. That would be who they could compare it to. But then if you try to compare it then they couldn't get away with it, because Black Panthers were trying to fight for better conditions for their living shit. You know what I'm saying? And
no one shut down the KKK. The KKK is still yet alive and breathing. Did we shut down? They shut down that Black Panther movement.
The KKK flourished throughout history.
Right.
So it's not you know what I mean?
Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you how you feel about mixed marriages, about dating, marrying loving outside of your race, having mixed children, that whole kit.
My whole thing, being honest, is I love like everybody just because I'm a godly man, and I don't have any like my hatred for people is the stupidity of people. Like strictly that. You know what I'm saying? It's just the stupidity of people that makes me like hate people. You know what I mean? As far as like marriages and stuff, like I have mixed kids and I'm not in the same place as I am now as I was in when I was younger. I'll just leave it at that.
Absolutely.
But
I respect that. Okay, let's move on from that. This woman, she was actually a young girl, about 16, but she was a part of the organization, the KKK organization, for her own reasons. And her argument was that, you know, gosh, like, she made it seem like, you know, I can't even walk through certain neighborhoods. When I go to party, I have to go and party, you know, out of town, you know, on the other side of town because, you know, we're targeted. And
the KKK or
like the you know, people who are affiliated with them. So you know, general of course by blacks.
You gotta think of it this way also too, is a lot of racist groups, you know, depend on the region that you live in too. Most KKK you know, groups and shit, you will find where there is a dominant white like stronghold because of strength in numbers. You know what I mean? If you go to like the hood, the ghettos, or lower class areas that are mixed, you don't find KKK racist shit because everybody is under the same class. Everybody makes the same amount of money, so they all realize that they're the same. And everybody is like, fuck the government, fuck the power structure. You know what I mean? So then if you take like a place like, you know, like Redlands, which is a wealthy city in California, you know what I mean? Where the whites pretty much still are the majority. You know what I mean? They have the Latino section pretty much sectioned off in the city. You know what I mean? The blacks are sprinkled within. So they keep their power structure there. So you know what I mean? You may see racist shit like pop up. You know what I mean? You may see every, you know what I mean, you know, nigger or something like, you know, different little, you know, stupid things where there is, you know what I mean, the structure of power is still set up. There's no black owners, business owners in Redlands and shit. You know what I mean? The only Mexican owners there are the ones that have Mexican food places. I'm, you know, not trying to be racist, but that's pretty much of what I see. So they still have the power structure, you know what I'm saying? They still have the white chief of police, the white mayor, so like, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And so you're gonna see kids, privileged white kids, still being able to do that, still running around being able to call people beaners or niggers and all of this shit because the strength is with
we're living on your turf.
Right.
When you own everything.
So if you say that girl, I don't know the situation or whatever, right? Okay, so then you take the South areas, right? Where you have poverty on both sides, but because of civil rights, everyone sticks together. Whites over here, blacks over here, right? They both go to the same school or the same type of school, where the education isn't fucking high. What do you expect? The same way the black nigga is sitting there and he can't go to a party over this way or go to this store because he's gonna get fucking ridiculed and, you know, having racist shit thrown at him. That same white girl can't go over this way because it's gonna be the same shit. She's gonna see, you know what I mean? She's gonna see the street shit that black niggas do. She's gonna see motherfuckers selling drugs, doing all this shit. Hey, what up, bitch, and all of this shit.
Right.
So the stupidity is at an all-time high. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I don't blame. And she's only 16 for one, but it's hard to have an opinion on people that come from different places.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I've talked to you before, like I'm privileged to have been in New Jersey, California, cities and shit like that. You know what I mean? When you know what I mean? When you're here and you see poor places, it's a mix of motherfuckers. You know what I mean? You being from Pomona, you've seen niggas, Mexicans, white motherfuckers sprinkled in there and this and that, but everybody's in the same lane. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're in the same lane. So the conditions over there are really fucked up. The conditions over there are really, really fucked up. You know what I mean? Colleges and shit, pretty much. Like colleges are big, you know, the same thing. Those colleges flourish, and those white motherfuckers who are in power make money off of black student athletes and white student athletes. They're white, big corn-fed, white motherfuckers in these Midwest shits, niggas that are trying to get out, doing the same thing niggas are.
Yeah.
Through sports, through football, through baseball, all of that shit, because the poverty level is so fucking, it's fucking ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Wow. So, these people affiliated with the Ku Klux Klan, they're pretty much, they're very like, it's, let me not put my input on it before I say this. They're very much so like, you know, it's, why are we being stigmatized as racist? Why are we being targeted? Why is there racial tension? It's the 90s, you know what I mean? Like, why are we being, you know, so one of the comments, somebody from the audience asked, you know, you say that you want your children to very free, willingly, you want them to decide to be a part of this organization or not. And you say that you want to give them that freedom. However, if your daughter was to bring home a black man, that daughter would very much so be disowned by her own mother. Not really. Not really. She didn't really. It was more of an omit, you know, than an admit. And I just wonder. Okay, so this is what she said. This is how she omitted and got slid on past that. She said, you know, there are plenty of races. I still have my beliefs. As a member of this organization, you have to remember she's a proud member. She's a proud white. She believes in her race. That's like believing in God, you know, or Christ or whatever, I guess. So she's saying, you know, there are plenty of other races that will disown their children for loving outside of the race. She said that too, you know, but there are blacks that will do that. So she's like, so why is it racist? You know, why is it a hate crime? You know, why is it so criminal for me to feel like, okay, and
well, I mean, it's like I said, it's unfortunate that she is reaping the rewards of her, you know, ancestors and shit like that. But her disowning her children because of, you know, dating a black man simply because of the fact of false images, stereotypes, etc., etc. The Mexican disowning, you know, like this comes with the propaganda. Like there are Mexicans that will disown, you know, or dating blacks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Not so much if they bring home a white guy. No, not so much. You know what I mean? Black, yeah, because that all those images and negativity that comes with black people came from them. You know what I mean? So when it comes in reverse and it's a white person that comes to a black person, and when they get disowned, it's because of the things that have happened by that race. Our negative image comes from propaganda bullshit that's been spread.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like we were fucking dirty, filthy fucking animals and shit when we were brought here.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Throughout the ages, the 60s, the 70s, you know, through drugs and shit, you know, we were drugged. Like, you know, the same thing I told you before. Like,
drugs,
the reason, like, even like marijuana, like on one of the I forget what they're called, but like, you know, when they were making the laws against drugs, one of them was the reason why they wanted to outlaw marijuana was because they thought it made white women loose and wanted to be with
Oh,
black. Then they wanted it would
yes.
make white women loose and make white women want to be with black men.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And that's like, you know, now it's like, you know, you think about it, like that's like the most outrageous shit you've ever
Right.
heard. But the person that was in power, which was that white person that was able to write the laws, set that whole propaganda up. You know what I mean? When you watch, you know, Reefer Madness and all that shit, all of the race, you know, the racist undertones about it, and you know what I mean? All all of these things. You know what I'm saying? They bring, you know, heroin and crack into like the ghettos, and there's proof of FBI, CIA bringing it into the ghettos,
right.
and then these people who really have no hope or try, you know what I mean, or trying, then they get hooked on the shit, and then they're selling it, and then they put that image on the television that were fucking animals. But
right.
the true animal is the person that brought it into the hood as a fucking science experiment because you wanted to eradicate that race. But no one sees that because people, like I said, the theme of today should be stupidity. People don't look past the television. They don't look past what they're told. So now you have all of these negative images of black people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you know, like how they. I mean, everybody knows, man. Like everybody knows this stuff, and that's like one of the things. That's what's cool about doing this shit or whatever. Especially like, you know, me, it's like, you know, you watching this shit, you're trying to like, you know, go against what the fuck I'm saying. It's like you gotta look at yourself like what kind of human are you to where you have to lie to yourself. You know what it is. You know what you think about black people. You know what you think about Mexican people. Like everyone knows what it is, but people just don't know how to be honest.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there's really no point.
Right on.
You know what I mean?
Yep. This is interesting. I found this to be interesting because for a very long time, for about 5 years now, the argument amongst my people, black people, has always been, you know, we built this country. You know, how are you guys even daring to have a movement that leaves black people, you know, where we are left in the ghettos, you know, and so on, with no opportunities, you know, or very minimal opportunities. When we built this country off the skin of our back. And it is their belief that, well, their rebuttal is, okay, well, we're the one who had the dream. We're the one who had the blueprint. You know, you guys just came and did the work, but we are the ones who formulated the Constitution. We built this country off of our morals, our values, you know, what we believe. Before you say that, somebody mentioned that someone named Hammurabi, you know, that he was the one who, and he's obviously a Moor, African American, or African descent, whatever, black, Moorish.
First president?
I don't know. Hammurabi? I don't know who he is. I didn't really do my research on it yet, but he basically formulated the Constitution.
Well, that's like when you see the pictures of him writing up the Constitution, you see there is one black guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like the picture, like the Constitution. And
when they're signing the Constitution.
Yeah, when they're in the political parties or whatever, there's always one. There's always one black guy that's in it. So probably Hammurabi. The same thing like, you know, talking about the George Washington pictures that they painted, and there's a dude in the back, and he has like the Shriners member.
Nope. I don't remember where we left off, but
yeah, there's always one black person that's in those paintings. You know, when they're signing, you know, making the laws and everything like that. You know, wars. You know, you have to do your history. Yeah. Which is one of the main problems for me, being where I am, like, you know, in my life and not being on the ground level, is that the claims that white people make are foolishness, and they don't even have the knowledge of their shit. You know what I mean? Like, you know, the people who, you know, like, have they look into, like, you know, wars and things of that nature because it's not what you know.
Yeah.
So, but even actually, it's funny. I seen this video the other day. Actually, a white person posted, and it was talking about like the history of America, and it was saying how they brought white people over here too, also being servitude and shit at the same time, and this and that, and like that's how the slave revolts were so successful was because it was said it was like 6 African Americans to 1 white person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then after after they the things changed, the slavery ended. Same thing again. The divide and conquer. They gave those white people a little bit more power than us. They wanted to keep their power. It's like, it's like, hey, things are bad, but at least we ain't bad like that.
Ain't that a bit?
You know what I mean?
But the initial question behind that statement was, that black people argue that, we built this country off the skin of our back, off the sweat of our brow, and white supremacist KKK organization will argue that no, you didn't. We built it. We had the blueprint. We developed the Constitution and the rules, and y'all was just here working. Basically.
Even if so, I mean that's what I'm saying though. That's the thing is trying to play God. Before they came here, there was the natives to this land, the Native Americans. There was no Constitution. They knew how to live in harmony.
Hello.
When they came and got us, there was no Constitution. There was no nothing. We knew how to live and prosper. You know what I'm saying? When the Moors went over there to England and basically civilized the world, don't forget that, civilized the world, we went there with a plan. And we didn't need a Constitution. You know what I'm saying? We didn't need laws.
Yeah.
Because where we come from, where natives come from, you know what I mean? And even the Asian
the law
culture,
of the land.
where we come from, we don't need that. We have a certain thing that's ingrained in us, where that's not the case.
Yeah.
You go, when we had to civilize them, they were, killing each other, robbing
eating each other,
eating cannibalism, having
homosexual,
all of that shit. You know what I'm saying? So there's something, and you know what I mean, and that's something that you cannot argue. That's history.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
The Dark Ages.
That shit doesn't come from us.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you have the nerve to say you came over here with the plan. So then now that you came over here with this plan, and now you have this society, look at what's happening. Your society is resembling the same thing that happened before. History always repeats itself. Yeah. You're seeing fucking murders. You're seeing fucking cannibals. All of the same shit before. All of the same shit before. The common denominator of everything is when these Europeans are in charge. That's the common denominator. The Jewish, Zionists, they're in charge. When it's people of color in charge, that shit's, you know what I mean? That shit's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's less, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
They didn't need that. There was laws of tribes, there was laws of land, you know what I mean? There's laws between man and woman.
Perfect example. Bush lit a big ass fire that spread all the way to the Middle East, and Obama had to put it out.
Right. And even then it's like even with that, like Obama didn't even, like the way the presidential term goes, it's like your first 4 years, you're spent. The first 4 years is when the last president went out. Those 4 years, that's when all of his things run out. So his first 4 years, he was still under the Bush guidelines. He couldn't even do anything because these things were already set into place. Yeah. So when he was saying that he's going to pull the troops out, and then when he gets in office, then everyone, white people were, quick to criticize. Yeah. You said you were going to do this. You said you were going to do that. His hands are tied until this runs out.
Ain't that a bit?
You know what I'm saying? And that's made that way because the Bush agenda had to be fulfilled first. So he didn't. I'm not taking any credit away. He didn't sign anything to keep us in there.
Right.
But then he could do something. You know what I'm saying? But the goal was accomplished. The goal is accomplished because now we're there and we're going straight into Iran. Yeah. We're going straight into all these other places. The goal is accomplished. You know what I mean? But people don't. People are just so quick to blame.
I think there's a huge misconception of what the president's role actually is. What he can actually.
It's funny.
How much strength he has.
The thing that's funny is this. if you really look at it, you could the two last presidents, you know, Bush to Obama, right? It's funny how the misconception is happening under Obama's term, right?
Yeah.
But when Bush was in office, then it was like, oh, he has the power. There was no misconception. It was he was the man, he was the president, he's keeping America safe. Then when you get to Obama, then it's like, oh, hey, there's all kinds of these other things. So that's what I'm saying. People have to be honest. If you have to be honest, you can have a certain type of disdain for somebody.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can not like somebody.
Right.
But you can't. Don't be foolish though. You know what I'm saying? Don't be foolish. Don't spread that shit to the next generation so they continue the fucking malarkey of just stupidity.
Speaking of misconceptions, so I guess, one of these wives, was doing their homework, doing a little reading in her spare time, and she, explained that there was a FBI report as of January 4th, 1993. There was an FBI report that whites make up 75% of the population. 36.8% of hate crimes are produced by white people. And, I guess that was her argument, but then somebody else argued that, okay, but that's the report. A lot of hate crimes generally aren't reported. They're usually retaliated, or what have you. Or they're just silenced. If you're Texas, anywhere in the South, you're pretty much silenced because you're scared for your own life, What's your take on that?
I mean, that 30%, that 36% is not even misleading because you have to look at, all the crimes that go unsolved.
Right.
So, this is right now, I was at 1990 what? 1993. So if you just take what's going on right now in 2015 and all of these blatant hate crimes that you see with these police officers and shit like that, this shit's getting swept under the rug. These people are getting off. These people are getting off.
Commit suicide.
They're getting no jail time, no nothing. So, A, you have to look at that. B, you have to look at the white people that are in these areas or whatever that their racism is there and alive. That's just not being reported. You know what I'm saying?
And then the force behind these hate crimes. And when I say the force, I mean the police that are killing these kids cold blood.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If you're in a place that racism is prevalent, if you're a racist cop, chances are you have a racist superior. Chances are he has a racist superior because these areas are built on racism. So there are many things that don't go reported. You know what I'm saying? The whole shit of racial profiling is that shouldn't be like a racial crime. That shit's not reported. You know what I'm saying? There are now. Don't get me wrong. I don't condone like for my people to be, fucking up white people just to fucking fucking up or anything like that. You know what I mean? And not to make excuses. I don't see too many white people being hung still from trees. You know what I'm saying? I don't see too much of that shit. You know what I mean? I don't see too many, schools being tagged up saying, fuck white people. You know what I mean? I see a whole lot of shit, fuck niggers and Nazi symbols and shit like that. We don't even have a symbol to put on shit for you guys to even feel the hatred. The hatred that you guys feel is a repercussion of the shit that you guys have done to us. So if we look at you with a fucking snide eye, nigga, what do you expect? Because you're looking at me with the fucking either a curious eye, a fucking eye of fear. You know what I'm saying? An eye of disgust.
Nervous.
So all of these fucking things, and I just can't walk and live. I just can't live. Like, get the fuck out of here. What do you expect? That's what I'm saying. When you talk about that shit about playing the victim, like, nigga, you can't do that. You can't have a society set up that fucking that benefits you guys, Europeans, you know what I mean? And, you have a society that's set up to benefit you guys. You guys aren't under the same scrutiny. You guys, most of you are not in the same poverty levels, education-wise, working-wise, etc., etc. And then you wonder why we react the way we do to shit. It's already hard enough. but I can't go into a store and you will think that I'm stealing because there are people that go into your store and steal because they don't have the money, because their parents don't have the fucking jobs that they should be afforded to, because that white person sits there and looks at them as if they're niggers and they don't.
Hey, minor technical difficulties, but we're back. This is Black University TV. It's your host, Miss Jenkins, and I have the sexy Mr. Tron. It was spider dropping. Anyway, sorry. So to pretty much sum it up, there is a movie that you can find probably only in the library. It's called The Birth of a Nation, and it's illustrated to warn whites of why they have to remain always in power. And
that's that Reefer Madness.
Oh, okay.
Those movies of that time, that's what they were doing. That's what they were doing. Was to pump fear into white people.
Right.
About the animals of black people.
So they believe that, 60 years from like the 90s, that their race, their nation will be obsolete. And so their whole argument, their whole basis, consensus for the KKK is to alleviate that process. Do you believe it, or do you think it's propaganda? Clearly.
Yeah, it's true. It's absolutely true. It's absolutely true. The thing that makes us look, okay, this is the thing. I understand, like, white people like fear us, like, the undertone of everything is that it's fear. It's because no matter what, right? If you do any type of research, the consensus between scientists around the world is the birthplace of civilization is Africa.
Yes. Indeed.
We started the whole thing.
Right.
We have went. The world started with us. Every other single race on this planet has the melanin, and their roots go to Africa. It's inevitable. When you have, it's just how it goes. It's like I said, history always repeats itself.
Yeah. Like you were saying, we civilized, it's science, we are the, and history shows that we've come and we've always reigned supreme, but it seems as though the agenda is, it's working, for white supremacy.
And that's the thing is I wish white people would realize that it isn't white. It's like you're being played by the owners of this world.
Yeah.
Like you're being played out. To divide and conquer. That's why we have no control. And you're steadily blaming everyone else.
Right.
But the faults of your own by wanting to have that power by treating everyone else like shit.
Yeah.
We Moors and people from Africa went all around the world. We didn't go for conquest.
Right.
We didn't go to change people's shit. We didn't go to fucking take over fucking people's land. Like, you did this. And you've not only done it here in America, you did it all over the fucking world. You still do it to this day. We're in wars in Iraq and whatnot because you're taking over people's land. It's like you
major looting.
Right. So it's like that is somewhere in your DNA, which science, you know what I mean, is the Neanderthal, which is you guys think differently. You guys think differently than the rest of us.
Yeah.
And you're starting to infect the rest of the world with your selfish, reckless behavior. But you want to blame everyone else. It makes no sense. You come to a country, you pillage, rape, and kill women, and then when you get your women raped and killed, you want to cry foul. When you see the after effects of the system that you set up, you want to cry foul.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
It's crazy. But then if someone else tries to do it, then they're a lazy nigger, they're a lazy beater. Those chinks don't know shit. Motherfucker, the country was built on our back. Yeah. The Native Americans are right there getting slaughtered the same fucking way.
Genocide.
You took the Chinese people over here to build the fucking railroads. Like what are you talking about? Like you had the idea of a capitalist society.
Right.
And to tell you the truth, it's not working because it's not the way God intended it to be.
Let me ask you an honest question. In all honesty, all your feelings, not feelings aside, but put all your pride aside on this one. Probably gonna be my last question. I feel as though there's definitely a stigma built on both sides. There's a stigma that takes place. It's like the boogeyman or the neighbor with the big scary house down the street, and everyone says, don't go to that house. It's a witch there. But the neighbor that lives there is like, I don't want to be bothered because everyone around me is corrupt and fucked up, So in closing, my last question is, should we blame blacks for the continuance of the KKK's new generation of followers?
You gotta be honest. Like we all have to be honest.
Right.
Everybody has a blame. Everybody has a blame. We have a blame. They have a blame for continuing to teach the generation the same shit. Everybody has a blame. Everybody does.
So do you think that black people are now as ignorant as the white people?
Yeah, they've infected us.
When it comes to, their side versus ours?
They've infected us, man. We have it's sad. It is. It's like they've infected us with the same type of things, but like in reverse. Like when shit gets bad with us, we protest because we still have the same fear of these motherfuckers. We tear down and we burn up our own shit. We don't go to their shit and burn their shit because we still have the fear that they're in control.
Yeah.
When they start to lose control, then they bring out this KKK shit. Because they see it could be a problem. And then when the dude just had, the Confederate flag issue, the dude just killed all those people in South Carolina, then they're worried that, this may be the tipping point. And these niggas are going to start acting up. What do you know? Here comes the KKK.
Yeah.
This always happens, man. This always happens. They see us getting tired of this shit, and the riots happen. Here comes the KKK. Here comes the police.
Yeah.
Here comes, now it's going to be what? The National Guard now. You know what I mean? Because it isn't white, black, it's class. You know what I'm saying? Because there are black motherfuckers in the National Guard and the Army and all the armed services. There's white motherfuckers. There's racist motherfuckers, white motherfuckers in the armed services with black people that go into combat together. They don't give a fuck about views. They give a fuck about they're in the armed services and they have a job to do. And that's their first priority.
Right.
I can hate you, you can hate me, but we're in this shit together. I'm not going to let you die on the battlefield. You're not going to let me die on the battlefield. And our job is to uphold the government of the United States. It's about class. Because that same white people can be considered a threat. will be considered a threat and be taken out, that black person will be the same thing because it's going to be like a one world government. It's just how it goes. It was written. There's nothing you can do about it.
Well, anything in closing? You want to do any shout outs? You want to leave us with a jewel, a gem, anything that you want to say to the African American society? Anything that you think would, help us out, render us stronger than we were yesterday?
Just be honest. Just be honest in all aspects of your life. Just be honest.
Yeah.
It takes time. It takes to change, you know what I mean? But honesty is the best policy, as they say, but honesty is the best. Because the only way you can change anything is to be honest with yourself. The only way you can change another person is to be honest with that person. And then your honesty hopefully will spread to that person. They have to be honest. You gotta be able to admit that you know what I mean? You're not doing it right. You can't be a victim. Like, you know what I mean? But honestly, you just have to be honest with yourself. You gotta be honest with your people around you. And I think once that happens, things can change. But you know what I'm saying? You just have to be honest. Everything can't be an agenda.
That's right. Well, there you have it, y'all. I'm your host, Miss Jenkins. This is Black University TV. And we sitting here with the fine and sexy Mr. Tron Woods. That's our time. Peace and blessings. We out.